Welcome everyone to my review of the first episode of The Twilight Zone. This episode is titled, Where is Everybody? Which is about a man who wound up in a town where he can't seem to find anyone and slowly starts to panic and fall into insanity. After the review, we'll talk more about its characters, themes, and anything else really I want to talk about pertaining to the story. So if that interests you, come with me and we'll take a trip into the Twilight Zone. Now I'm going to start this off by saying I'm going to refer to the man as his actual name, even though we don't find that out till the end of the episode. I don't want to just call him the man the whole review. We find Mike walking down a road, wondering where he is, and he walks into a diner with music blaring, and he starts to yell out to notify whoever is working there that a customer is here, but no answer. He goes over the counter, walks around to try to find someone, but still nobody. He helps himself to some food and pulls out some money to pay for it, and then we get the reveal that he doesn't know who he is, and he just discovered he's an American based off the money he has. He starts to think he's in some kind of dream, which we later find out is partially right. But he gets fed up with looking for anybody in the diner, so he leaves to go to a town he saw while walking. He gets to the town and again finds no one. He yells out and checks all the buildings, but still can't find anybody. Until he sees a person in a car and runs over to them, but then realizes it was just a mannequin. And I like that he joked around with it before putting it back in the car. That was a little funny. He then hears a phone ringing and races towards it, picking it up with no one on the other side. He phones the operator, but all he gets is a pre-recorded message. Then I would say we get a terrifying and funny joke of Mike thinking he was trapped in a phone booth, not seeing that it had a fold door and not a regular push door. After walking around a bit more, the paranoia starts to set in, with him constantly looking behind himself, of course feeling like he's being watched. He stays in the town till it turns into night, and all the town lights come on, and the movie theater catches his eye. As he walks over, he sees a poster for the Air Force, and connects the dots with the guy on it wearing the same uniform he is. He goes around trying to yell to everyone that's not there, that he's in the Air Force, and once he sits down in the theater chair, a film all of a sudden comes on, and he goes to find whoever turned it on, but there is no one in the room. He starts to panic, probably thinking he's going mad, running into a mirror and stumbling his way through the town with the feeling of him being watched growing even stronger. And he finally breaks, begging for someone to help him, and we get the reveal that a group of military officers are watching him there on a monitor. Since he is begging for help and probably pushing the emergency button, they decide to pull him out. They carefully remove him, and they say that he was in the box for 484 hours, and that would be about 20 days. The press start talking to the general, and he reveals this test was to simulate a trip to the moon and back. He tells them at the end of the test Mike cracked, but if any of them were in his situation, he's sure that they would end up the same way he did. The officers ask Mike how it felt and what happened to him, and he explains, which is, of course, what we saw in the episode. The general then says they can supply everything the human body physically needs, but can't stop the mind's hunger for companionship. And he tells Mike next time it will be real, as he's carried off. The final scene is of Mike telling the moon not to go anywhere, because he'll be there soon. We only have one character really for the first episode, and that's Mike. He was a good protagonist for the first episode, and he had to carry basically the entire episode on his back. His actor's name is Earl Holliman, and surprisingly enough, he is still alive now at the age of 95, so that was a happy surprise researching him. And I think Earl portrayed his slow descent into madness really well. It really gripped me seeing it all. But let's get back to his character, Mike. I liked how he tries to stay upbeat for the majority of his delusion, making jokes and such. And if I was him, when the general told me next time it'll be real, it will fill me with dread hearing that. Honestly, I don't think he can actually do that again, because I can imagine most human beings wouldn't willingly put themselves through that again and try their best to avoid any situation like that. But we see he stays true to his character, exclaiming, "They'll be going up to the moon soon." Now, stuff I liked about the episode is the mirror breaking, thinking we are seeing him run towards us, but we, the audience, are seeing him from the mirror. It was honestly a really good shot. Another thing I noticed when he was in the movie theater, as soon as he thought it was a bomb that killed everyone and why no one is in the town, his mind conjured up a movie with what seemed like a military plane, hinting to us that this was a delusion. Along with, of course, the many other hints in general, like the objects looking like they were just used, and the person who was using them, along with everyone else, just disappeared all of a sudden. Another thing I caught was that dial in the box he was in was smashed. There are actually 2 moments in the episode I can point at when he was getting glimpses into reality. The first is when he was in the restaurant and he broke the clock, and the second was when he ran into the mirror. Either of those points could have been when he broke the dial. Another glimpse into reality was pretty obvious, with him feeling like he was being watched, and it was because he was most likely told that before the test started. So even though he forgot everything once he went into the dream world, his subconscious still remembered things from reality. Now, moving on to the traveling to the moon subject. We still wouldn't go to the moon until about a decade after from when this episode was made. So hopefully Mike will be too old at that point, so he wouldn't have to go through that again. But if he does end up going to the moon, he is actually in luck, because it took around 3 to 4 days to get to the moon in the first moon landing. And he would be with 2 more people to keep him company. So the future for Mike may not be too bad in this universe. Now, I will tell you, this story, of course, deals with loneliness, and I don't know if there was a major problem with that in the mid-1900s, or if this is just one of the major fears for humanity, because it is something that will come up in future episodes as well. I personally can't imagine how long I would last in the type of box he was in. Maybe 2 or just 3 days tops, honestly. Of course, it's different if I have things to watch or read, but just kind of sitting there doing nothing and just having your own thoughts, it makes you think. Like in this episode, it would start to make a man go insane. But I think that's about it for me, guys. I hope this first episode does well, and I had fun making it and rewatching all of the old episodes in the series. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, and if you want more of it, I will try to get at least 1 episode out a month. And if you just want to talk about the episode in the comments, I'm all for that as well. I hope all you guys have a nice day, and I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.